don't tell people I'm a single mom. I tell them I'm a single dad. People love single dads. They get invited to everything. We're at parent night for the first grade class. We find out that Timmy's dad is single. The woman across the room from me snaps into action immediately. She takes off her wedding ring. Game on, sister. Game on. We're still in the meeting. My phone buzzes. Another mom has started a chat. Help Timmy's dad. The response is overwhelming. I'll start the meal train. I'll do carpool. I'll jump in his bed. These moms are enthusiastic. I post that I'm a single mom. The moderator writes back, excellent. You can watch Timmy while I go out with his dad.
We are Moms Unhinged, a nationally touring stand-up comedy show. Join us in our podcast as we explore everything from motherhood, midlife crisis, marriage, divorce, online dating, menopause, and other things that irritate us. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moms Unhinged. I'm your host, Andrea, and I am joined by the lovely, wonderful Catherine Shea today. Welcome, Catherine.
Andrea, thank you for having me, and thank you for being unhinged as well.
I know.
I really feel in good company. So lonely before.
I know. We banded together. We've formed a gang.
Yes. The only hinge that works in my life.
I know. I know. So, listeners, Catherine's wonderful. She is actually a Colorado-based comedian. She is actually coming to you right from my dining room. So that's how she's just right nearby. But she is Colorado-based, just wonderful, has been performing with Moms Unhinged all over the place. We were just in New York last week performing together, so that was super fun. So yeah, Catherine, tell us a little bit about how you got started into comedy.
Great. Well, thank you again for having me. It's so good to be here and for sharing your dining room with me. I feel like I've always been in comedy, but not necessarily in stand-up comedy.
Uh-huh.
When I was young, people would say, "Oh, I heard you laughing at lunch today." I got terrible conduct reviews in classes because I was always kind of the class clown and really just having fun, laughing at things. It's really been a through line in my life. And I even remember when I first started off as a baby attorney, I talked to my parents on the weekend. I'm like, oh my gosh, work this week. You wouldn't believe how funny I was. I mean,
So that is interesting. You wouldn't think an attorney would be so funny. So what? So you had this comedy, pull towards the comedy, but then you went into law school.
Yes. So I had this pull into comedy, but I think wisely my parents advised me, hey, check out law school, because they wanted me to be able to support myself. And I think very logically, and I'm very rules oriented. And so in many ways, it was a very good fit. But even in law school, I can remember, moments where it was important to create levity because it can be so intense.
Yeah.
And so comedy's got me through very difficult situations. I come from an Irish Catholic family, and there's a lot of dark humor, a lot of using humor to get through difficult situations. And so I had a career. I was in law for a while and then in some other administrative roles in education. And right before COVID started, started thinking a lot about, what am I going to do when my child moves out of the house? What's my hobby going to be? And of course, I thought about being a writer. I love words. I love reading. It just seems so lonely. And then I started talking to people about comedy and maybe doing a class. And what crystallized it for me in the process is I was out at a restaurant with my ex and our child and cut through the bar, and 3 friends are out there together. And my first thought was, well, why didn't they invite me? Then I wouldn't have to be at this awkward dinner with my ex. But they'd been there for a little while, and we started telling stories, and they asked me about dating and what my life was like. he was my ex at the time. So they're
Yes,
asking
yes.
about that. And they were just laughing and laughing at the stories I was telling. I was like, oh, this is stand up. You got a
Got an
drunk
audience of 3 right now.
audience of 3. They're 3 sheets to the wind. They're ready to hear my stories. And
Yeah.
I just felt this connection with them. And so the questions I was asking about comedy really crystallized. I'm like, yes, this is what I'm going to do for my creative outlet, my hobby, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and sometimes the shows we go to, there's just 3 people, 3 sheets to the wind,
and we're so
not
grateful.
not the Moms Unhinged shows. We usually have bigger audiences, but some of the shows I've done, it's been like gather around the table, people. Let's go.
Yes. And in your large audiences, there are likely 3 people at least who are 3 sheets to the wind.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
The odds
So
are.
it's just been really fun. And actually, one of those 3 women at that table connected me to Zoe Rogers.
Oh, yeah.
And I took her class and really found the love of comedy and community and connection through that class.
Yeah, that's awesome. It is kind of interesting because you're up there by yourself. Comedy can be both like there can be a lot of community, but then there can also be like you're just on your own. You are usually, writing on your own. Sometimes you meet for, to kind of work through things, but it can both be a community and kind of by yourself at the same time, but it's kind of a neat, interesting blend there. Yeah, so you started doing comedy right before the pandemic then? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And so you had about 4 good months or what?
That's right. 4 or 5 months. My first show was in September, and then we were shut down by February. I remember I did a newbie set at Comedy Works in Denver.
Oh, wow.
The Friday before we ended up shutting down. Wow. I'm sorry, the Tuesday before, 10 days before we shut down.
Sure. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah. You got that in right under the wire. Who knew?
Snuck it in. Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild. And then did you do any COVID comedy while you were?
Oh, yes. I was so in love with it. I kept looking for classes online, open mics online, and I found a lot, and I met a lot of people. There was a great group called Women Smashing It, and they advertised Chicks on Mics was one of the online groups that I joined, and people that I've met since, people from Nebraska, from Washington, D.C., California, Chicago, and it was a great way to start meeting people across the country who are doing comedy, and it was super fun.
Yeah. So how would that work for you guys? Would you would do a show, you would do like a Zoom show or something like that? Or you would just get together how did that work?
Both. Yeah. We did some open mics, which were fun because then everyone was supportive of each other and you could hear the laughs. Mm-hmm. And then I did a few shows. Yeah. And that's where you get used to the silence. You could sometimes see people laughing, in the screen, laughing.
Yeah.
A lot of times you could not.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. And it was a good way to get used to the pause and not necessarily depend on the laugh, which you're hoping has arrived, but you're not so dependent on that as before you get into your next joke.
Right.
So did you do a lot of Zoom comedy too?
I didn't do a ton. We did a few shows. We did, I think we did one Moms Unhinged show. Yeah, we did one Moms Unhinged Zoom comedy that was run by the Louisville Underground, actually.
Oh.
And and Merritt was on that one. And she said, I never want to do that again. It was brutal. It's rough. It was a rough one. That's so interesting. But it's hard because if you just got started doing it, then, and you love it. Look, share, why do you love it so much? What is it about it? What brings you into comedy?
I think initially it's just, I love to laugh.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love when other people are laughing, and that what's so magical about it is you're connecting.
Yeah.
The connection that happens when you both recognize the comedy in something. And whether you're telling that as a comedian or whether you're being delivered that information, whether stand-up comedy or sitcom, movies, whatever, that connection, I think, is really magical. Seeing the absurdity of something. And I think that's what initially brought me. I just love to laugh, and I love to make people laugh. It's a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
I mean,
awesome.
family dinners were most fun if you were all sitting around laughing at the table.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now you have one daughter.
Yes.
And she is no. So did you start? You started when your daughter was at home, like
Yes.
you know, yeah.
She was 14 or 15, and she's actually my first audience. And she's helped me on so many jokes. I was teasing her. I said, when I get my Netflix special, you're getting a writing credit.
It helped. Yeah. Writing credit for multiple things, both as subject matter and That's great. That's great. So she was very supportive of you doing this, and
lucky for me, she thinks I'm funny. She thinks I'm really funny.
Good.
That just encourages me more.
Yeah.
You know, and during COVID, I spent a lot of time trying to keep her happy. You know, as a child, it was rough for everybody and for our children. What a gruesome time. Yeah. So I really tried to make sure that every day we were doing something fun. And it became natural. It wasn't like I was trying to force it, but really trying to keep things, have a sense of humor about our engagement, not about the situation, but what we were doing to respond. I knew that we were about to shut down. And so I picked her up from her after school activity the day before the shutdown. And I said, we're going out to dinner and order anything you want and order 2 of anything you want, because I knew it was going to be a long time before we were out again.
Wow.
And so we went out, we had a great dinner at an Italian restaurant. We got dessert and everything, which we normally, we just try to make the most of every situation.
Right. Oh,
so it's helpful that she thinks I'm funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that is great. It is nice to, at least not have the eye roll or whatever it is that teens do when, you might get a little of that anyway, but who knows?
Yes, on a lot of other topics.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. And now she's very creative as well. So what is she majoring in now? I forget.
She's in political science. And during that COVID time, I did feel like both of us were using the limitations to stretch our creativity. So I was working on comedy and she was writing poetry. She was playing her violin. She was teaching herself the piano.
Wow.
So she's really driven by a lot of that. She's a great writer. She was, don't get me wrong, she was miserable like everybody else.
So
but
brutal.
There were these moments. And so I feel like we were encouraging that in each other, really trying to recognize what the other person was doing creatively. So we were on parallel paths.
Right.
In that process.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's just, it is so important. And it's funny that you said, don't get me wrong, we're miserable, but it's so true because there is a little tendency. I heard someone like romanticizing COVID times. I was like, what are you talking about? It was brutal. Yeah, it was, maybe we were going on hikes more or whatever we were doing, but it was scary.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I think that's great that you use creativity and this outlet to help get you through,
Yes.
And now we're through it, and you are doing a lot of comedy, you're performing on a lot of shows, and so that's awesome. And you're traveling around, and I don't know how. Like, what have you found since COVID? Have you been just pushing yourselves in selves like you're 2 people, self in
well, maybe.
in that as well, or what?
Yes, post COVID, back to the office, things like that. All of that happened. My daughter left for college 2 years ago. So in the last year, she's been away, and I've retired, quote unquote, from my full-time office job. And for a while I was saying I was retired, but now I'm saying to people, I'm a full-time comedian.
Yeah.
Am I supporting myself as a full-time comedian? Not yet. But what I mean is, like, my days now are really thinking through being a comedian. So the writing in the morning, the business in the afternoon, the shows at night, really trying to use the skills I learned working in the office to be able to apply that to a creative life.
Right.
And just finding my stride now in the last few weeks with that sort of rhythm
Yeah.
has been really helpful. And just, it feels so good. Like when we were together in New York, the year before, I was pretty nervous. This year, I noticed a big difference because I was thinking, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And that just felt really good. And it was so fun to be with you and with Alice Chan, our other co-performer that night. It was really great just to be with you all before the show. I love that time. Just the respect that I have for you and the other comedians that have worked so hard to be so good. You know, my family that was there just loved your show, loved your set, and with Alice too. And it just felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. So that feels really good.
That's so great. And it really does make a difference when you say, I am a full-time comedian. You claim that. It definitely, like you said, it doesn't matter that you're not supporting yourself. You're growing a new thing. You know, it's like, it's almost like, you know, we weren't making, well, maybe you were as a lawyer, but I was not making big money back in my 20s, you know, or whatever.
Exactly.
You know, so it's just like kind of starting something brand new that you're, you know, growing. And this, especially in this industry, is challenging. You know, it is hard to make a full-time living, especially right away. You know, that's something that comes a little bit later. So that's great that you are claiming it and like living into it, you know.
Yes. Well, I really respect what you've done with all this, you know, because you've started businesses many times and had successful businesses, and you started this too. And I just really admire people like you who have done that, because I've just been so stuck in the bureaucracy, pretty focused on stability, you know, not the stability of that sort of situation, and never taken this kind of risk before. So
yeah, it's definitely a risky path. And I think, so here's a question. Do you think you would have done it in your 20s? Would you have wanted to take this path in your 20s? Do you say like, oh, I wish I hadn't been a lawyer so I could have been doing this longer or whatever?
that question comes up a lot. And I always say, well, I'm not going to second guess anything up to the point that my child was born, because anything that would have changed that path, I don't want to change that. And so I don't look at it that way. And I think, sure, that would have, yes, of course, imagining that would have been great. But also, I'm so happy to have been a mother, to be a mother. I wouldn't want to change that. But I think about now, a lot of us in this moms group who are newer, now we have material. Now we have life experience. Now we have things to share. And so I'm looking at it more as a confluence of things to share, helping other moms recognize that they're not unhinged. This is a crazy thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
It's a really hard thing being a mom. And so now I would like to give voice to that in simpatico, or in, commiseration with the audience and the comedians. Like, yes, what we're doing is really challenging, and we're doing it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I don't think back to that at this point. I'm just glad that the comedy voice was so persistent and consistent, and now is given full breadth for what it can do.
Yeah, right. It's almost like, what is time? We forget we still have so much time left and available to us. And, you can still be a comedian for 20 years or whatever, and
Yes. Yes.
So that's awesome. That is awesome. I love that. And speaking of unhinged mom times, I love asking this of our comedians. Think of what's a time that you had an unhinged moment, either with your child or in your childhood. Share an unhinged moment story with us so we can all feel like we're normal.
Well, this story is about my child, but reflects on me. And I remember we were driving home, or we were getting in the car, and she was old enough to try and buckle herself into the car seat.
Mm-hmm.
And she's buckling away, and she can't quite get it in. And she goes, "Oh, frock." And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Oh, frock." And I was like, "Why is she saying frock? You know, like dress." Literally, I'm thinking dress. I said, "Well, why are you saying that?" She goes, "Well, I'm saying it instead of Jesus." I'm like, "Oh, she's not saying frock." And so it's like this moment, like, oh my gosh, I thought I was such a good mom. I didn't think I used any bad words in front of my child, but apparently I used the word Jesus and the word frock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
So it was, you think you've got everything under control, and then your children do things that reflect back on you. So that's a mild, unhinged moment, but that's the one that comes to mind right now.
Yeah,
And it's funny to think of her swearing at the age of 4.
I know. That is hilarious. I know. It's so funny because you're like, darn it. You think you're doing pretty good, and then you're like, yeah, well, we're all muddling through here. We're doing what we need to do. That's our motto, is barely holding it all together,
Yes. Yes. She did get herself buckled in.
Oh, good. Oh, good. See, a little swearing helps, I think. That's the motto.
And I've learned to rationalize anything, because apparently a swearing is a sign of intelligence.
Oh, good.
You can find anything you want on the internet.
That's right. That's right. Great.
Yeah.
Every theory is backed up by some blog written by AI or whatever.
That's right. That's right.
So now you have been an empty nester for 2 years. How did that go? How did you handle that?
I felt this release to then go use that mental space to think about my other things.
Yeah.
Not necessarily myself, but, reclaiming my life in a way. I think it's natural to feel that your life is on pause while you're parenting.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot of plans. I had a lot of plans around comedy that I really wanted to get out, and I sort of hit the gas on that. I was teasing when I was still my office job. I was teasing my boss, and I said, "You've only seen the Catherine who's had a child at home. Now you're going to get my full attention." And he was like, "I'm warning you." So what, for both my job and my child, that they had competing, my interests. They were competing for my interest, because neither one got the full-on Catherine. And so I'm a bit of a type A, really focused on things. So it worked out well to have that sort of balance.
Yeah.
But of course I miss her. Of course I miss, being in our pajamas all day, playing with Legos, and I miss all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go back, though.
Right. It's true.
So I'm really trying to be present and use all those stories.
Yeah.
In the comedy.
Right. And, it's great that you started comedy, before. Now you've got this well-established hobby that you can really lean into, and, and it's so fun, and it is social. You're, out, and,
Yes.
It's really great. That is really
It's so great meeting other comedians and really being inspired by other comedians. Denver and Fort Collins have great comedy scenes. They're just really vibrant, and people are really in it to get better.
Yeah.
Moms Unhinged, growing out of Boulder, growing out of Colorado, was possible because of you and this great ecosystem that we have.
Absolutely. Just having so many, it wouldn't have started in a smaller town without, there's a lot of women in comedy here, which makes it really great. And just, I think, like, people like Zoe and Janae who are doing classes for people, that makes it great. That's really great too, because as women leaders, they're encouraging other women to say, hey, this isn't just something that guys do. We're doing it. We're out here in the trenches, like, so I think that's really a positive. They're just positive role models out there for other
Yes.
women and other moms. So that's great.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I have any other questions for you, but this has just been so much fun. And why don't you let the audience know where they can find you? Where can they catch up with you?
Great. So I'm not sure when this will air, but I think
I don't
most
know
of my
either.
shows. Yeah, okay, great. So people can find me on my website at catherinesheacomedy.com.
Nice.
They can find me on Instagram at Catherine Shea Comedy, and they can find me with Moms Unhinged on the Moms
Yes.
Unhinged website, where all
Yeah.
the shows are listed for all the comedians.
Yeah, so great. And yeah, definitely go follow Catherine. And we're also posting some of her clips on our channels as well. So you got to go check her out. We'll have the links in the show notes and all of that. So thank you so much, Catherine, for coming on the show.
Andrea, thank you for having me. Appreciate all you do.
No, thanks.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening, and make sure you subscribe, share, and follow us on the socials to get more comedy clips.